How long have you been out for?
Not long. I think we're doing quick runs now, so this is like maybe show number 4. So I figured if we're gonna noodle around on some guitars, I figured I'd give you choice on what you want to play.
All right.
I guessed that you might go with this one only because it's a 79V.
Yes.
It's the only like quote unquote vintage guitar that I have in here.
So can I?
Yeah, you can grab whatever you want. The rest are kind of like, I was feeling real like super stratty for this tour, so Brad was like, well, let's load it up with good stuff. So you know,
dude,
like,
this is so sick. Yeah, I'll fuck with this.
Yeah, so that's a real 79, and I just put a set of my pickups in it and kind of modernized it, you know, put my pickups in it, locking tuners, that stuff.
That's so cool. What's this thing about Keith Richards with that?
Oh, so we were in the studio working on We Are Not Your Kind, and you know, I'm a dirty, rotten, filthy smoker, so.
Keith Richards would.
Yeah, I was talking to Fiddleman, and I was like, man, I kind of want to take a break so I can go out and have a cigarette. And he's like, and we're at Sunset Sound.
Yeah.
And he's like, just fucking light up a cigarette. And I was like, he's like, I can't. He's like, Keith Richards would. So I'm like, I'm going to write that on the back of my guitar.
That's so cool. All right, should we go in the jam room and get down?
Let's go hang out.
I'm sitting here with Jim Root from Slipknot.
Yeah, thanks for coming over.
What drew you to playing guitar?
I was obsessed by my parents' record collection, essentially. You know, they were deeply into music, not musicians, just enjoyers, you know, music lovers, hippies, pot smokers, whatever, you know, that whole vibe. And peach crates, man. My dad had probably 12 peach crates full of vinyl and everything from like hard rock to some blues to some like, you know, like Pink Floyd-y kind of stuff to some, you know, he even had some like kind of garagey, like new wavy kind of stuff. And, you know, I was sort of raised by MTV. I'm kind of like the MTV generation when they first came onto the air and started, you know, and they were playing videos. And, you know, of course I was a metalhead because it was the guitar drew me to music, and the most guitar oriented music that appealed to me was metal because it was literally all about the guitar.
I see an Iron Maiden record, right? Like that's the scariest thing. I want to take it home. I want to know what it is. And then you're like.
So yeah.
So is there like a thing like that for you?
Like I was definitely listening to that music, but by the time I finally had gotten a guitar, you know, I was in my 14th year of being on the planet, I suppose you could say, and those records that I listened to, that's way above my skill set. But at that time, being 13, 14 years old, I was really into like Twisted Sister, like Stay Hungry, and you know,
so like what were
Rat Out of the Cellar and stuff like that.
That's just kind of hard. Like, what's a Rat? Can you recall any of the first, just the things that the shapes that your hands were making? You know,
the 5th chord. You know, it's been forever since I tried to play that. But then as you improve, you start getting into the, you know, that whole.
Oh yeah, lay it down.
Yeah, which I'm sure he probably might even play in an open, like, I don't even know. Like,
what did you do? I always love finding out.
Was that like an A position?
Yeah.
And then you drop the, wait, hold on, where was it?
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, you raise the 5th. That's what it is. To get that nice.
Are you doing it?
That's how I do it, because I'm real linear as a guitar player. And then raise the 5th, right there.
Oh.
Drop it. Yeah.
Oh shit! You did the whole thing?
Yeah.
Lay It Down by Rat.
Yeah, weird.
What
we ended up there.
But were those, you know, because it's those kind of like shapes. That's what I found when I was a kid. Was like, okay, Iron Maiden, the Number of the Beast is, and just, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like.
And then that goes into that picking thing.
Oh yeah, what are you doing?
You can cheat.
Oh, do you really do that?
I don't do that. I do now because I forgot when I was learning how to play on 3-note per string scales. Sometimes I would cheat, and instead of alternate picking, I'd add this finger in to kind of pluck the neck.
Oh, that's cool.
Which, you know, that makes me think, man, I should learn how to play like some country, like Roy Clark stuff. But
Have you gotten there? Have you gone there yet?
hell no, because that stuff is next level. I mean, I don't even know. It's funny, on my Instagram, a Roy Clark video just popped up.
So
and
sick.
Watching him play is just like, when they get into the chromatic stuff and adding these 3 fingers to the pick and the chicken picking and all that, it's like, I'll just end up beating my head, you know.
Yeah,
just
that's
my
me all the
patience,
time.
my patience will just go right out the window with it.
But at one point you had the patience to learn to get as good as you got, you know, and you're continually learning.
So what happened was, we used to loiter at Ye Olde Guitar Shop. Being 14, 15 years old, I met a guy there that was a teacher there he was born in Des Moines, but he had left to go do the big hair 80s rock thing in Hollywood. You know, I'm sitting here playing Smoke on the Water. Still like that instead of how it should be played. You know what I mean? And here's this guy that's playing these, you know, these 3-note per string scales just like Yngwie and just like Paul Gilbert, and that's what we all were trying to be, you know, like all of our friends were like, how do you play like that, like arpeggios and Far Beyond the Sun and fast and articulate and all that kind of stuff. And here was a guy doing it, you know, and he was much older than me, but he saw that I could play. I just didn't know what I was doing. I could listen to a song and pick it up. And then, so he just started teaching me these 3-note per string scales. So
Okay,
the first
real
one would
slow.
be. So he said, so that was written down on the piece of paper as F to F.
F to F, okay.
And there's all, I think all the modes are in that whole motion. So
that's, okay, so there's, so
it's whole
2
steps.
frets?
It's 2 full steps.
Yeah.
And then half step, full step. And then half step, full step. And then half a fret up. And then full steps. Yep.
Okay.
So the next week he would show me the next scale up, which would be this shape.
Is that the different shape than before?
Different shape.
Okay, what's that now?
So this shape is on the top 3 strings, whole steps.
Okay.
So 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7, 3, 5, 7. Yep, and then. Yep.
Okay.
So this. Yep. So this went on for however many weeks until I got back to the octave of it up here. You know.
Okay, so is there an?
So they all fit together like pentatonics.
Okay.
You know how like the ass end will fit up with the front end?
Yes.
Which I don't know all my pentatonics, so shut up, leave me alone. But I did spend the time to learn. And then you go down the one up. And then so forth. And they all have very different shapes, right? Or, not very different, but different. So instead of doing math, I can wrap my brain around shapes,
Visuals.
you know, and visuals.
Yeah.
So what I learned by doing that is, so that shape of the first scale I showed you is the middle shape of the next scale up.
Got it.
And then the top of the third scale up from there. So that's the same shape. See?
And it's about connecting the shape to your ear, right? Like kind of like.
Well, I haven't figured that one out yet.
Okay.
But I have the shapes down.
Okay, right.
But I mean, and this is the crazy thing about guitar is it's like it's so, let's say, easy to pick up a guitar and learn and play. But to master guitar, I mean, you really have to be dedicated and spend a lot of time because, you know, like things are unlocking to me even to this day, where it's like, you know, when he showed me those scales, I was thinking in my overly logical mind, well, that's the scale and that's where it is and that's where you play the scale and you always play the scale there.
Right.
And then I just realized, oh no, in order to keep that in key, if you're playing a solo, you need to move that scale around. And then all those shapes move with it. And then let's not even talk about adding sharps and flats and chromatics and, you know, pentatonics in with those shapes and all the crazy stuff that like a lot of people are doing today. And but you know, that was kind of like my easy ticket to being like in a speed metal band where you just You know, you're just grinding or whatever. And you're an A, so you can do, you know, and it's like the next version up from like the pentatonic type of thing, you know.
Okay, so that's a big jump when dude shows you how to do
So
the thing.
the bigger jump is when, so this guy asked me to join his band, so I joined his band.
The same dude who's teaching you how to play.
Yes, teaching me how to play, which was good because playing with other people is really how you take all that stuff, and even if you're not aware of it, like I remember one time we were at practice and there was a song that we had written and we would always split guitar solos, you know, half and half. And I would just play random, like very, like not knowing what I'm doing, just kind of in the neighborhood. I'd find like a note that was like an octave of wherever the chord progression started, so at least I was in some sort of key. And then I would just play random, like almost like kind of Kerry King Slayer kind of stuff, you know what I mean? And then I thought about these things that he was teaching me, these shapes, and then I remember when I put all those shapes together for the first time, and it just seemed like the whole world of guitar playing just unlocked. You know
Because
what I mean?
it was
like,
because it was in harmony with the
it
other
was
chord.
yeah,
Right.
and every note that I was hitting was like well, not every note, but like, you know, most
More,
every note I
yeah.
was hitting was hitting the key of the song, and it just blew my mind, and I was like, whoa.
Is 15-year-old Jim always sitting around with nervously kind of dicking around in a guitar when you're
Yeah,
just?
I mean, I grew
like,
up in Iowa. There wasn't much else to do.
Right.
You know, I was in my bedroom with my guitar an awful lot, listening to, you know, like Peace Cells and records like that, and Among the Living, and trying to work out like how they were playing it and what they were doing, and, you know, Master of Puppets, and trying to figure all that stuff out.
And did you figure it out?
For the most part, yeah. I mean,
Can
there
you
was a lot of stuff that I remembered, like you know, like I didn't hear the nuance, like say in Master of Puppets, was he going? I just played it like
Oh, because what is it really?
he's going.
Oh yeah, it's climbing.
And in my head, I'm like, why would you do that? That's harder. Yeah.
That's fucking
But
sick.
he's also down picking it also. But you know, I was trying to get that machine gun that. You know, that machine gun sounding like fast picking. That's what it was kind of all about.
Yeah, machine. How do you learn? How did you learn? What did you start?
Just listening to it, and I mean, once you hear, you know, like I think that was Disposable Heroes, and it's weirder now because we're down tuned and the strings are a little floppier, so it doesn't have
Forgive
that
us.
real tight da 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 da.
Right.
But up down.
So you got
Almost like the what's the Stevie D?
So we'll start
Edge of
like
17.
Yeah. But, oh yeah, Age of 17. Just like the yeah. Okay,
So it's basically just alternate picking, but I think for that style of playing, I think the palm muting is also very important to kind of help keep the.
So you're putting this part of your hand.
Yeah, right there, the meat right on the string to keep it kind of dead or tighter sounding. Yeah, instead of like.
Okay.
And then it's literally just, you know.
And so you start real slow, but when you're a kid, you're.
I think when I was a kid, I was just like, how's he? Where are they at? No, not there, not there. There. Oh, there it is, and
then you go up and down.
Yeah. You know. I don't know that I ever like did the whole slow.
Really? You just
up there. Yeah. Cool. It's just
Okay,
it's probably why I'm a little bit of a sloppy player.
So you never slowed it down. You just went
I
straight
just
in.
tried to play it exactly. I'm impatient, you know what I mean? And if I don't grab a hold of something quickly, I lose interest in it real
that right?
fast. Yeah.
I've noticed some stuff on some Slipknot songs too, where like there's a lot of use of like open string, dissonant,
Ringing
open
stuff,
string,
dissonant.
ringing stuff, which is like.
Like one of my, like the song "Gently." There's some cool
that's
things
what I was
happening.
thinking of. Yeah.
So in "Gently," there's like, well, first the song starts off and I'm doing some weird noise.
Yeah.
You know, you got a little melody happening there.
Yeah.
And then the guitar kicks in. And that repeats a few times.
Yeah.
Kind of the intro of the song, and it breaks down into like an octavey envelope filter, microsynth-y kind of. And then we're down to nothing and creepy, weird, airy Sid noises, and But one of the cool dissonant
Stringy
chord thing
things,
you're
yeah.
talking about is when the verse kicks in. We're playing heavy power chords down low, and when we hit this chord, I grab this third string and bend it up.
Yeah, oh, that's sick.
Bend up into it.
So what's the whole? What's
That's
the whole
almost
figure?
kind of a country sort of thing, isn't it?
For sure. That's great.
Bend that one note into that guy, and then it's just fun stuff like that,
I'm gathering that all of your playing has been with other people and being in bands. You're a band person.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Which is something that I'm psyched to talk about because I feel like, and for lots of great reasons, there's less bands these days because you don't need to do it, and you could get a lot of stuff done.
You
at
can
workstations
self-produce
and-
at home and do everything in your bedroom now, from vocals to drums to even recording acoustic drums. A lot of dudes are doing that too with the technology that's out there today, which is cool. But I'm at a disadvantage because I'm not a lyricist. I can't write vocals. I don't know what I'm doing with there, so I feel like there's half of that world is closed off to me. It's almost like not having all your senses in a way. So when I write an arrangement, I have to kind of guess what Corey or whoever I'm writing the song for or with would do vocally, or I think this is what he's going to do. Mm-hmm. Here's an epic part for him to sing on, and then he'll write scratch lyrics to it, and he won't even be singing on this part. I'm like, that's the epic part of the song for you to shine on, and you haven't even sang on it.
And you don't tell him, but you don't ever say
we go back and forth, and
Right.
because Corey's got everybody's approach to things, like you and I could be playing the exact same thing, but we're hearing it differently.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And our approach to it would be totally different, which is the other great thing about not just guitar, but instruments in general. So if I give Corey something that came out of my head that's like a 5-minute arrangement, and I've taken the time to layer guitars and put bass on it and program the drums and keyboards to thicken it up, and it sounds like a song to me. He might be hearing something that I have as let's say like a pre-chorus. He might be hearing that as part of a verse rather than for the way he thinks about music. But that's how the evolution of our music can go. Then he'll give it back to me, and I'll be like, okay, wait a minute, you're looking at it that way, so maybe I need to rearrange how I'm thinking about this song. Nobody wants to get an arrangement from somebody and then be like, yeah, that's cool, but I'd do, and chop it up and make it, but it's hard to communicate that.
Right.
You hurt people's feelings
Sure.
or whatever. They feel a certain way about
So that's
a
still
song or
real.
whatever.
There's still real feeling. It's still mushy.
Oh yeah,
and
it's a big deal. Like somebody could get, like what, you don't like my arrangement or whatever, and it's not about that. You've got to let that go and see where it can go and let it grow as a collaboration. You know what I mean? Unless you're doing everything 100% by yourself and you're in control of the entire creative process.
Right. Boring.
Anything that I write, like as soon as I put it into the world of Slipknot, I have to know that by the time that comes back, it may not sound anything like what I gave to them. Mm-hmm. Or what we end up working on together, and you have to be okay with that. After a while, you're listening to things and you're hearing them totally different because they're evolving so much from where they began.
Wow.
Like painting.
Right.
If you start with one color red and you just keep throwing every color in the palette on top of it, but then you start taking things away and they start making new colors, and then all of a sudden a new idea kind of presents itself out of something that 4 things make. All of a sudden these 4 different instruments are making one sound or one melody, you know what I mean? And
That
it's like,
couldn't
well,
exist
there's the
right.
fucking song right there, you know what I mean? Like, holy shit,
When did you guys get to the place where, I mean, that's a deep ass process. like, was that understood when you started that it was going to go like that, or?
No, that's something I think everybody gets there in their own time. You know what I mean? I don't think that's something you can teach anybody. I don't think that's anything that you can really I don't know if you can go to Juilliard and learn that. You know what I mean? Like, you can know all the theory in the world and you can be the most fluent musician on the planet, but are you going to make that song that makes people go, oh God, and feel that thing? You know what I mean?
And that's between people.
That's a human emotion, and I'm not saying that those learned musicians don't do that. I mean, absolutely, they fucking do.
Right. No, but in Slipknot,
but being a dumb guitar player from Iowa, you know what I mean? You get there naturally when it's time. You know, like the universe is like, okay, it's time for me to be your muse and to give you the inspiration that you need to make this music that doesn't just move you emotionally or make you feel like you've accomplished something, but makes those people out there connect with something in their life that they can, relate to and emote with,
And getting there is not being precious about what you came up with, being patient with your bandmates, to being willing to let them take the ball.
Open-mindedness. And trust. There's a lot of trust with it too. Trust and patience and objective opinions, because you don't always know what's best. You may think you know what's best.
Right.
Well, I wrote this idea, this riff came out of my head, so I know what's best for it. But that's not always the case. Like, somebody might come in, Sid might come in and be like, and do one thing that all of a sudden makes it go, holy shit, this is where it needs to go. You know what I mean? And the first and second record are full of stuff like that. Even even like Gray Chapter and other records, it's like, if Sid wouldn't have done a certain thing, or if Mick wouldn't have hit a certain effect on his pedal board, might have been an entirely different song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Jim, thank you so much for fucking taking us in and being so cool and so open. And
thanks for giving me something to do today that was worthwhile. For real.
Thanks, man.
Touring is hard. Venues are hard, so you coming out to hang out is a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
Thanks.